My name is Jacqueline Fuentes, and I'll be giving a speech on my expectancy violation report. This paper reviews about violation, how other people expect you to act when you're in their personal space and it is being violated, and how genders, environmental situation, cultural, and nonverbal communication come in between person to person. In the first section of the text, it will introduce several people, and their names is Rosemary, which is the pregnant lady, and Sansa, the violator, which is myself. But I couldn't show this. But this person is deaf, and in the speech, there's also a woman named Violet, and it's a mother one, and Christine, which is mother two. Rosemary is on a vacation in New Mexico, and this is her first time being here. She is staying here for a week before she leaves home and gives birth to her newborn baby. Rosemary decided to take a break for this because she wanted to see how other different cultures interact with other kids and how she can get new ideas on this. While doing this, the violator Sansa comes up to Rosemary and starts touching her stomach in all places. Well, before all this, she went to the park because that's where she wanted to see the kids. And Sansa, the violator, she comes up to her and starts rubbing her stomach, which makes Rosemary feel very uncomfortable. Violet and Christine are both mothers from here in Mexico, watching this whole situation happen. And they confront the violator as well and to check up on Rosemary. Additionally, the text explores the nature of nonverbal codes such as gestures, expressions, posture, tone of voice, and touch, and how you expect other people to act because you just think this is the right way. But being in a different culture can really explain and show the difference between people learning different ways to express their feelings. The final section describes how Violet and Christine acted the way they acted, and the violator Sansa acted the way she did. Also, Rosemary confronted her about this situation. Defining violation in different ways. When people think about personal violation, they think, for example, the person doing the wrong is wrong in every way, no matter the circumstances. But being in a different society can change those things. As for Rosemary, going to Mexico changed her perspective in people. The beginning. Rosemary is a pregnant woman that is from Texas. She leaves to Mexico for a little getaway before she has her newborn. By doing this, she thinks she will learn different ways to raise a baby in a different culture. But as every person expects, she thinks people will automatically know how to come into someone's space. She'll automatically think other people know respect. As Maine explained, the distance between you and your shield most likely varies from person to another, depending on a variety of factors, including how well you know the person, your relationship to that person, or how much you trust him or her, and your culture. As in this case, it is different. When Rosemary arrived for the first day in Mexico, she decided to leave to the park and watch the children play. When she arrived, she sat down at the nearest bench. 20 minutes had gone by, and she noticed a woman named, obviously Sansa, approaching her quickly. So Rosemary stood up, and when she did, Sansa started rubbing her stomach, and she was smiling and rubbing all around her stomach. And Rosemary was very shocked and very uncomfortable, and she tried to back up as much as possible without making this other woman feel threatened. Rosemary asked her what was her name and why was she rubbing her stomach so much. Sansa tried to talk, but obviously in this story she is deaf and she really can't talk, only sign language. Sansa tried to talk to Rosemary in sign language, but Rosemary did not understand. She went close to Rosemary and tried to explain why she was doing this, but Sansa got way close to Rosemary's face. The middle. In Mexico, it is entirely different culture and different meanings. To a Hispanic American or Mexican, greetings are different. They go straight for a hug, straight for a kiss on the cheek, no matter if you are someone they know or do not know them at all. This is a matter of respect. In a Hispanic culture, there is this thing, I'm really not sure how to explain it, but it's called ojo, which means evil eye. It is a look or strange stare that is filled with jealousy, envy, or even an admiration. In order for nothing bad to happen to you, the person's supposed to touch you, which that means nothing will happen to you. You won't get no illness or anything. A strange tradition for outsiders is constant, surprisingly formal custom and greetings to friends you run into on the street with more than just a simple hello or nod of the head. Instead, you'll be introduced by everyone by name before having to do a lap of hugs, handshakes, and kisses, as stated Coquin. In the US, it is entirely different because you wouldn't want someone to come up to you and start touching you out of random because that is disrespectful. The definition of expectancy violation theory is a theory that suggests that we develop rules or expectations for appropriate nonverbal behavior and react when those expectancies are violated. In conclusion, while Sansa was touching Rosemary's stomach with her gesture of apology, this Rosemary understood. Christine and Violet walked up to Sansa, and Rosemary was very concerned because there is these two other women started approaching her, and she didn't know how to expect. Also, she thought that these two other women were gonna violate her space, but instead Christine and Violet went up to them and she asked if everything was okay, and then Rosemary explained that this lady was being very weird and touching her stomach and everything. And Christine and Violet tried to talk to Sansa and then realized she was deaf, and her facial expressions were very, very weird. Not weird, but more of a confused look because Rosemary did not understand Sansa. And Christine and Violet explained to Rosemary the situation about Sansa and their whole culture and why they touch other people. And Rosemary did apologize because she did not know of these things and wanted to really explain why she acted the way she acted, and she thanked Christy and Violet for the reaction they had. In conclusion, people automatically assume that people will have respect towards each other because that is the right way. But in other countries, this is interpreted entirely differently. Due to their cultural differences, postures, gestures, attitude, and voice can be taken wrong or right depending on the person. In this, I expect Sansa to react different towards Rosemary because she sees the way Rosemary reacted toward her, and she saw her facial expressions, how shocked she was. But Sansa did not think of her space being violated because in her country this is normal for someone violating someone else's space. Nonverbal communication is a process of sending and receiving messages through gestures, body language, posture, facial expressions, clothing, managing time, etc. In this case, this is a perfect explain how expectancy violation is shown.